Hello, and thank you for watching Nth News. Today we are going to talk economics and what has happened to our economy since 2001. Everyone remembers how good our economy was in 2001, and since September 11, we have gone into what some like to call a recession. One of the main things that people like to blame our country's loss of money on is when Bush did the tax cuts. Many people say that hurt us more than anything because when they did the tax cuts, many people were excited because, of course, who likes taxes? But in the end, being in a war and having tax cuts was spending a lot of money than what was coming into the government, which has in the end led us to where we are now. Bush had the right idea with the tax cuts, but it was just the wrong timing. We have gathered just some basic charts from 2001 that shows how good we were doing then and because of what a war would do to any country where we are now. With these, we have looked over some of the main issues that a recession brings to a country. With that, we as a station think that crime is a huge problem that people do not always realize and isn't always recognized. Today, we have three amazing police chiefs joining us from Milwaukee, Senora Flynn, from Washington, D.C., Carl Lehner, and from L.A., Charlie Beck. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Go. So tell me a little bit about your city and why you are some of the crime capitals of our country. And what are your city's crime rates?
Well, as most people know, we have quite a large crime rate. It may be because we have many important people living here in LA, but it's most likely because we have a large gang problem here with the Crips and the Blood gang groups. But thankfully, the LA crime has decreased since 2006 despite these groups' violence and the recession.
For Washington, D.C.'s crime rates, I'd like to refer to the graph that we have put up here.
And compared to other cities, Milwaukee is really a small community where it has a population of 604,477 residents. But even though there's a lot of crime and it has decreased, even the community has decreased 5% from the 90s.
Wow, that's really interesting. Something that everyone doesn't always realize. Do you think, in your opinion, the crime rate in your city has lowered since 2001? And tell me why or why not you think that.
In my opinion, the main problem is in DC areas there are certain quadrants and sectors where there have been problems rising, and it's starting to affect the areas around them. So we need to start cracking down on those or else it's just going to spread even more.
Well, I'm actually quite surprised that crime has decreased in LA because of the recession. We were expecting to see a dramatic increase in robbery, but it has a downturn of 8% as of 2008. I suppose that because of the recession, many people feel the need to stick with their family and try to fight these hard times without resorting to crime.
I think that crime has decreased because the population has decreased. I think it's just because of the effect of 2001 of the economy.
Okay, what have you done to try to lower the crime in your city? Anything particular enforced that was never enforced before 2001?
We have certain parts of DC on watch and patrol because, like I said, we have certain parts that have bigger crime rates and more serious problems being had. So we're starting from the center of the problem and we're working our way out.
Crime has itself amazingly lowered without us doing more than our normal job. Some of us think it's due because of the increase in immigration, but when usually this happens, crime increases. But due to research, the immigration, even these illegal immigrants are taking the jobs and they just stay out of crime. It's amazing. We're all astonished by this.
And we have also had watch groups and been able to be more with the community and set up plans of how we can lower crime rates, and thankfully that has been successful.
Great. Obviously in LA and Washington, D.C., you have really important people living there with a lot of money. And it's a very touristy area where people like to come. So why do you think the even worse problems are in a city similar to maybe Detroit, where you think it might be because they don't have that same draw? Or
it may be due to the fact that these cities are so large and have unfortunately large poverty rates. It honestly doesn't have much to do with the people living there.
Like about for every city, we have a main focus point where tourists come and view the city. And what we're doing is we're mainly focusing on that. We're not focusing on the other parts of the area. We're focusing on the parts that the tourists come and see, and we're trying to get that to flourish instead of going to the other parts and trying to make that better.
Okay. Great. Chief Flynn, with you being such a small city with the crime rate so high, what do you do that would be different in a city with such a large population?
Well, honestly, there's not really much of a difference because, since it's a smaller community, I think it's faster that, everybody would understand that the crimes are rising up and they want to stop to it. So, like as I was saying earlier, we were setting up block watches and all the good stuff and communicated every day with people that are on our side and would help us out, say, hey, there's a crime over here, could you please help us, and not really get caught or be in any dangerous situation.
Okay, great. And Chief Lanier and Chief Beck, do you have any strategies that you use in your city to maybe help Chief Flynn in his city so that he can lower the crime rate in such a smaller area?
I would think that just cracking down on this crime is really hard. Don't ever give up, just keep hitting hard and don't stop. That's what we do.
Basically, our plan is to start from, not only pay attention to our focal point, the tourist areas, but just start in the source of the center where we're having our main problems, use our division of funds there, and put patrols out just to watch the area. If anybody reports any crime, we're there. We need to stop this from spreading, so this is what we're planning to do.
Do you guys think that maybe, being in this war right now over in the Middle East, do you think that the war on terrorism has maybe made y'all city closer together, or has it really torn it apart because of cultures and religion?
Then again, we have positive and negative effects like that. We do have some people coming together, trying to produce more. But there are some people that take advantage of the time we have when we're weak, and they use that to commit crimes while we're at a point. And they use that as their advantage to do their crimes.
Yes, I feel that we really do come together in times like this because we feel that we need to support our country. They're in a war, so we really want to help our boys overseas.
I think that has been more of a positive because since everybody has been in so many crimes because of the economy and for so many other reasons, they have realized, hey, instead of making more trouble, let's actually be together and fight this.
Right. Well, that's great, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. If you have any more questions, you can go to nthnews.com.